The Dead by Daylight Community Cups were a series of monthly tournaments where any team could join, from beginners in the competitive scene to some of the best teams around. Anyone could play together, and this was one of the few events that was actually officially backed and supported by Behavior. Unfortunately, it seems that the one we just had is the last one that they're going to do for a while, and this is a real shame because I really enjoyed following these cups. You might have seen me react and commentate some of the most incredible matches that we saw during these months, but I also participated in some of them. Sometimes my team didn't make it very far, but in the very last edition on the European branch, we actually made it to the finals. And even though we didn't win, we had a really good run, and my favorite match that we played by far was the first round that we played. I would be playing Killer against survivors from the former Team Oracle, which used to be considered the second best team in the world. I knew that they would kick my ass, and they did, but my performance was actually good enough for us to make it to the next round, and I'm now going to break it down play by play. Alright, the game is just about to start, and I can already tell just from my spawn that I'm in a bit of a predicament. I am on the shack side, which means that the gens that are far away are going to be blocked by my corrupt. This is good if I could hold them in the late game, but that's going to be very difficult. But it's also bad because survivors all spawn close to main building. Any one of these survivors that I spotted earlier would have immediately run into main building, and that's a place where I generally cannot hold to really down anyone. In normal loops, these survivors know that a clown can get hits or even downs if they're not super precise, and even if they are, the clown's bottles are really powerful. So all of them obviously have the idea to run to main or run to shack and pre-drop shack, do something to delay the first down as much as possible and not give me any hook stages early on. Here, however, I found one survivor that was slightly zoned out. I thought I would be able to stop them from going main. Here I'm really suffering because they changed the way the camera on the clown works and I couldn't hit these bottles, but the second one landed. She was slowed down, the Nia, and it was clear that she couldn't make that window, so she took the hit and now she makes it to main. And look at this, immediate pre-drop. This seems really stupid, but if I stop to break this pallet, she makes massive distance, and if I don't and I try to play around it, she will simply go back and forth over it. She can even stay on the pallet, and if she plays it perfectly or has resilience, it's very likely that I'll just never get the hit. I decided to do some renovations on the main building while I was here, but I also knew that I had to go. Here, this ace gave me a bit of a hint as to who I could chase. I now know where 3 out of the 4 survivors are. Another extremely early drop of a pallet. These survivors are not stupid. They know that time is on their side and that any delay they give me on the first down is really good. Here, I decided to come and see, but noticing that the other survivor, the Renato, had already left, I went back. And here is what I think perhaps the first mistake from the survivors comes in. This ace must have thought that I was going to leave, and he came back and got a little bit too close. It's true, he's still fairly close to main building, but this would be a mistake. If he had kept his distance, what I was able to do here would not be possible. We have an extremely dirty setup here with a decent pallet into a window, into another window. This thanks to his decision not to vault, resulted in a bit of a 50-50 where I did get the first hit. And now I knew 100% that he was going to use the same pallet that Nia had dropped previously. So I had to break that pallet, but also somehow zone him in. I threw a yellow bottle knowing that it would trigger by the time the pallet was broken. 2 gens get done in the distance somehow. That's how efficient survivors work. And here, luckily, I managed to find the very narrow space from which I could throw a bottle to land it ahead of the survivor. I do need to charge it enough for the bottle to travel enough distance. And as I mentioned earlier, they recently changed the camera for Cloud and it feels a bit weird. But luckily, this one was a success. And it landed square on him, and that gave me enough distance. It's also really lucky that he got hit a second time by the bottle there. Enough distance to down him here. He probably was hoping to crawl a little bit away from the wall to maybe do some kind of flashy save, but that did not come to happen. First hook stage, and 1 stack on no way out, which is going to delay the exit gates more and more the more people I've hooked, and it will go very well with Know It, which is the left perk that lets me insta-down. So that's good, but not great. The next down needs to happen really quickly. And perhaps the biggest mistake survivors made in this entire match, the one that cost them the most, was this one right here. Notice that the Nia is injured. She hasn't healed. She hasn't been able to get healing from other people or herself, and she is at the shack. Now, this is a very solid player, and she is about to play this almost perfectly, but just going to the shack like this is letting me is allowing me, enabling me to use a really, really good combination of yellow and purple bottle that ultimately results in her going down. Let's show it. So I put yellow bottle by this. I know that she's gone left. I can tell by the blood. I put purple bottle on the door, and no matter where she goes, thanks to my speed boost and her slowdown, she goes down. Keep in mind that her pathing was pretty much perfect, and that I was like milliseconds away from getting stunned here. However, thanks to my purple add-on, the Flask of Bleach, I slowed her down an extra 4%, and that made the difference. Pallet didn't come down, hit happened, and now I have 2 hooks relatively early. Notice that the ace that we hooked is already fully healed, and these people are not wasting any time. We have a gen here too that would be really hard to defend, and I'm thinking of kicking it because I'm right here, but I know that this is going to be difficult. Luckily, Aaron, the Nia, cannot have Deliverance because they haven't rescued anyone, so I know time is a bit on my side. Here I know that I need to reload and I only have 1 bottle, so I toss it at the ground so that I can get a bit of a speed boost out of the reload. It's something that doesn't take any time and gives you a minimal advantage. Here I see Adam running very, very early on from his gen to make sure he's safe. We do have a 3 gen around main still, but keep in mind, time is not on our side and we cannot get any quick down. Now, what happened here is really interesting. The Renato is trying to take advantage of a bug/feature. I've made a video talking about this bug/feature if you want to watch it. But basically, when survivors drop, they can immediately vault into a window or a pallet that's next to them. If they had been very smart, they would have gone away into the other pallet. But here they thought that they would be outsmarting us. And they dropped and they immediately pressed vault. And maybe that was a bit of a blunder. I guess they thought that I would follow them. They didn't see this through. So they gave me a free hit, which was extremely nice. And here I had a bit of difficulty to find exactly where they run. And I'm guessing they're trying to take me away from all the gens. You will see that this Renato will go down. That bottle would have been really good if it hit the proper frame, but it didn't work. So I had to throw another one. And that was good enough to slow him down. But guess what? Not so good here. We see now the ace that we've hooked before come and take hits, and they are probably not aware that I'm running the perk Force Penance. It's the perk on the right, and what this perk does is it allows you to hit a survivor that's taking a protection hit, and that survivor becomes broken for a very long time. Very, very long time. And this is very helpful because for the next minute and a half or so, the ace will not be able to heal up and he will be a constant weakness for the team. He did take a hit for his teammate though, which was really nice. And ultimately, the fact that they dropped a pallet, here I tried the same strategy as before, but I didn't charge the bottle quite enough, so I missed. I tried the same strategy as before, and it didn't quite work. This could have been really good. Ultimately, though, they run out of pallets in the area. The RNG was very kind, so I get this down. While they go into this locker, I'm not 100% sure, maybe to avoid a potential jolt. I'm not 100%, but one way or another, we're now 1 gen left, and I have 3 hook stages of 3 on 3 different people. The combination of No It and No Way Out is going to be very helpful. We are going to be able to hold them in the endgame a little bit, but there's no telling where the No It will spawn. Furthermore, the Renato that I hooked just now unhooked himself. He was the one player with Deliverance. If you're not aware, Deliverance is one of the strongest survivor perks in the game, and it's always used in tournaments like this because look, while everybody else is doing gens and doing stuff, he just managed to unhook himself, and he will obviously be putting a lot of pressure. Chasing the Atom here definitely would not work out. That Nia barely got hit. I was really afraid that she would make distance for main building, so I tried to prevent that with a bottle ahead of distance, and it seemed to dissuade her. Okay, first hit came relatively easy. And here it's really obvious that I would need to use multiple bottles to slow them down. In my opinion, my play here would have been to use several yellow and purple bottle combinations to take a hit after the pallet was down. But our player here made a mistake. He tried to fake the pallet drop and do it too early, which definitely works. But with a bit of ping on our side, the hit happened. So now we have Nia dead on hook, and the last gen probably just about to pop. We do see a notification from main building, and that's pretty much where we want to go. But if we could push this guy on our way there, that would also be really nice. My idea here was to prevent, that definitely came a bit too late, to prevent Adam from working on that gen while stepping this one. Here, I noticed the leg of the ace, who would also be on his second hook. And I can already tell that he's going to try to drop the moment I show up. He could even have balanced landing. But we preemptively hit him with a bottle, which probably hurt him quite a bit. This gen is about to be done. And Renato is still injured. Keep in mind, it's very likely that one of these guys would be healthy by now if they could have done it. But until very recently, the ace was still broken, so he couldn't heal. And so was Nigel, the Renato, because he had used a Deliverance, which breaks you. Right, so after hooking the Renato, we are now guaranteed 6 stages if I camp him on the basement, which would probably work out okay. This gen's not being worked on, so the obvious thing to do here is realize that we probably have to go to the other gen that was being worked on and see if we can get someone with Noed. Now, I'm not gonna lie, looking back at it now, I have 3 bottles. I probably shouldn't have reloaded. If I had been here a second sooner, there's no telling. I might have been able to do something about it here. I was super convinced that we would have a second player here. I might have been able to catch that Adam, which would have been a really good prize, but instead I didn't catch anyone. I'm going back. I'm actually using movement speed to make sure no one beats me to basement. My Noed is not in a good spot. It's in the middle of the map. They've already found it. I can try to stop it. If I don't hit a direct bottle, I can really easily stop it, but with a bit of gas next to it, I will be warned if they go on it. I want to ideally kill the Renato in the basement, but they're not going to let me do it. They're going to work really hard. The healthy survivor goes into the basement. The totem is being cleansed right now. And what they did here was absolutely brilliant. It's not something you ever see in public matches. What happened here is that the healthy survivor was protected. It looks a bit not safe for work. The healthy survivor was protected by the unhealthy, unhooked survivor. And in here, it's a lose-lose situation. If I wait and wait, no, it will be done. And then it's possible that they would have borrowed time. So this guy could have 20 seconds of endurance. But even if I'm lucky and I down the Renato, I'm getting the Renato, but I'm not getting the Adam. What ended up happening is that I thought I was going to hit the Adam first, but no, I ended up hitting the Renato. And after that, they both make it out. Renato takes another hit. He knows that it's okay to die. Maybe he has Unbreakable, maybe he's banking on something else, and no, it gets done. So now all kinds of thoughts are racing through my head. I'm super worried that perhaps my team needs more kills than this. So I want to ideally catch someone that would give me good hook stages. Seeing that gate is not open is a bit of a relief. It gives me the knowledge that I have a little bit more time. Ideally, I'd like to catch someone that is not dead on hook, but there's only one person that fits that criteria right now. The other gate's going to be open. Catching Gurken would be his second stage, and that would be good. So I would be very happy to get him, because that would be 2 more stages, and that would be 7. But that's only if I can keep him on the hook. So what's going to happen now is that the exit gates are open. The survivors, if they're not healthy in a second, they will be. And they're going to try to come and rescue. My job is to take this person as far away from the gates as possible and see what I can do. Obviously, without the hook grabs being a thing, without Noed anymore, this is extremely difficult. And a little bit of time happened where I was just making sure no one was sneaking up behind me. And ultimately, what survivors ended up doing was all rushing me at once. And they had a really good plan that almost worked. So whoever gets hit here is going to run away. And then the other people will try to rescue. And there's nothing you can do. I hit one of them. Okay. I put a bottle before to slow them down. He is happy to go down. And the idea here is that the Nia is using for the people and buckle up. And now everyone here, everyone, and I mean everyone, is safe. Nia has 10 seconds of endurance. This person has 10 seconds of endurance. The ace that got rescued has either 10 or 20 seconds of endurance, assuming borrowed time, which is extremely likely, and I assume the Adam would have it. And obviously Adam is healthy. So literally everyone here is fine, and they are about to walk out and get a 4-man out. But I'm not gonna let it happen so easily. I do have quite a few bottles, so I'm gonna slow them down. And Nia didn't take into account that her slow was going to give her a medium vault. So despite having endurance, if you do a medium vault, or a fastball on a pallet, the killer can grab you. So I was very happy with this. Nia was dead on hook, but she did give me one more stage. This was a 7 hook stage game against, in my opinion, some of the best survivors I have played in a long time. And ultimately, this result was better than what the killer on the other team had done. The killer on the other team, funnily enough, played Doctor, which I would argue is much stronger than the Clown. But the problem about Doctor is that he's a killer that is very susceptible to getting body blocked and altruism and people getting in your way. And as you can see, Clown, even at that, he can play around a little bit, and Force Penance was there to help with that also. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this interesting. Unfortunately, it seems like this Community Cups that we participated in was going to be the last one. But if you want to see some more interesting bits from previous Community Cups or other competitive Dead by Daylight tournaments, please let me know, and I'll see if I can find or even participate in some myself and bring you some more of this content. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.